No one likes having to choose. That's why with America's best lineup of hybrids from Hyundai, you get the best of both worlds. Like the reliable and efficient Tucson Hybrid, with America's best warranty. Or the stylish yet capable Santa Fe Hybrid, with power to navigate the toughest terrain. It's like having your cake and eating it too. You know, if you could drive a cake. Hybrids from Hyundai, it's the best of both worlds. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
Welcome to the Pint Glass Football Podcast.
We are excited to be joined by Jamie Winborn, retired 10-year NFL linebacker and a former second-round pick by the San Francisco 49ers out of Vanderbilt. Jamie, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you on. It's always exciting to have a former NFL player on the show and to talk about your career, all the things you did, and kind of get your insights on the game. And I want to start because I mentioned in the intro there that you were a second-round pick for the 49ers, but obviously out of Vanderbilt. So I want to start with this because just recently I saw that you were recognized as an SEC legend. What did that honor mean to you personally, and what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was a huge honor, man. Like I said, coming from the South, SEC is everything. Football is everything, and like I say, one of the special things about that particular time was I went in with three linebackers that were really good friends. One, Patrick Willis, and the other, Wesley Woodyard. We played together at Denver, so we had a really good time. I mean, they did a great job for us down here in Atlanta, from the hotel stay to all of the good shenanigans for the game, and they really set it out for us, man, at the College Hall of Fame. It was awesome, man. It was a really good, cool thing, man.
So I want to stay right there at Vanderbilt because you're originally from Alabama, went to high school in Alabama and everything, correct?
Correct. Wetumpka, Alabama, south of Montgomery.
So I'm trying to understand Vanderbilt, and we're talking about the SEC.
Yeah.
I want to know that journey to get from where you were in Alabama to Vanderbilt, and that's moving past Troy, Auburn, obviously Alabama, and every other team in the SEC to go to Vanderbilt.
Well, I'll give y'all a secret. See, I actually was in Texas halfway through my junior season, and then my aunt lost her job out there, so we had to move back to Alabama. I tried to get in school in Montgomery, but they were tripping about where I live and all of that. So my aunt was like, "Yo, you can stay with me. We can get you to school and get you on the field at Wetumpka." And I was like, "Well, cool, let's do it." And came in on a Monday. I started that Friday. Pretty much laid tackles ever since then. We had a guy by the name of Reed Tankersley, a good friend of mine. He's actually here in Atlanta right now at Georgia State. He works there, but he was a really good tight end and a really good defensive end, right? So Vanderbilt, I was originally committed to Arkansas. So they were watching a tape of him on defense, and they called my coach and was like, "Who is this linebacker? We want to sign him." And so when my high school coach, John Mataloni, told me Vanderbilt wanted to offer you a scholarship, I was like, "Where?" I had never heard of Vanderbilt, and where are they? He was like, "Man, they're in the SEC." I said, "Well, are they?" I said, "Well, who do they play?" And he was like, "Florida, LSU, all of the teams." And he said, "But it's a higher education school." And at that time, I didn't know anybody that went pro or any of that kind of stuff. Getting to the NFL was like a far-fetched, thing. It wasn't reality to me, really. My goal was to get the best education I could get. And my high school coach told me, "I think this is something you should do," because I was actually getting ready to try and go in the Marines because my brother was in the Marines. My granddad was in the Air Force, and my aunts were in the Army and stuff like that. That was pretty much the route that people took. So, but I trusted in my coach. I was like, "Man, okay, man, I'll try this Vanderbilt thing." And I tried it, and I redshirted my first year, and then my redshirt freshman year, I'll never forget it, man. I went out there against Mississippi State, and I think I had about 15 tackles, and I didn't even play in the third quarter. I was getting IVs, and when I came back in the locker room, bro, it was so many camera people around my locker. I asked my buddy Doyle Crosby, I was like, "Man, why they over there by my locker?" He was like, "Dog, you know what you did today?" I was like, "No, I don't. What happened?" he was like, man, you had like 15 tackles and you didn't even play in the third quarter. I was like, really? I was like, shit, all I know is I'm tired as hell and it was hot as shit out there, you know? And every game since then, bro, it was just like all that, you know, the hype, people at my locker all the time. And, you know, like I say, all that stuff was new to me, bro. I'm just a country dude, grew up picking peas in Wetumpka, Alabama. I ain't know nothing about all of that, man. We didn't even have cable to watch the games and stuff like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so apparently at that moment you start realizing, wait, I'm a pretty good player here. You obviously knew you were a good high school player just getting to go play at Vanderbilt and the SEC, but you know, you get there and obviously we know it's a big jump from high school football to get to play in a major conference like that. All of a sudden you're making plays and you're already shining. You must have known pretty early on, like, wait, I can really play at this level.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I was redshirted, man, I mean, they used to hold me out of practice and stuff because, you know, I was honestly, I mean, I was destroying. I was on scout team defense, but I was destroying the offense. You know, like they'd sit me out of practices and stuff, and you know, I was learning from Jamie Duncan, who went third round, Carlton Hall,
Mhm.
and Anthony Jordan all went pro, and you know, I just really was like a sponge, bro. I learned from each one of them. Corey Chavis, really a cornerback, went second round, you know, all pro guy. Um, you know, he really put me on how to watch film and forced me to watch all these film and stuff. And that's really what was part of the key to my success, bro. Like, if you know what's coming, you should be that much faster. And I already could run and stuff like that. So those were the things that really helped me, man. Just really being a sponge and just giving it all you got out there, bro. I wasn't going home. I got there early. You know, I was one of the first people out the class to get there, you know, and just trying to learn all I could learn.
So, as you're going through Vanderbilt, when did it click that hey, you might have a chance? Because, like you said, you didn't know anything about going pro. You just knew you had a scholarship. You said, "I'm just go out there and play ball, get an education." When did it click, or when did I guess maybe a scout or maybe a coach say, "Hey, Jamie, they're looking at you. Like the league is recognizing you. You possibly could be in the top 64. Forget the seventh, all seven anywhere in the 7 rounds, but top 64."
That after my first year, you know,
Okay.
but because I led the SEC in tackles as a freshman, my first year. I was number 2 in sacks behind Javon Curse with like 8 something. And I think I set a record for tackles for loss. Actually, I think I just found this out when I went back to the school. I didn't even realize this. I have 2 of the top records for tackles for loss. And but after my first year, I was ranked number 5 in the nation. And, you know, but obviously you can't go that. I couldn't go nothing like, and I wasn't ready to go. I needed to polish some things up. But after my second year, then it was me and Keith Adams led the SEC again. Keith Adams and I from Clemson, we were ranked number 1 together in the magazine. You know, they had magazines back then, but
Yeah.
I mean, there were agents and stuff calling at that time already, you know, but I didn't feel like I was ready at that point. Honestly, you know what I mean? I mean, of course, I got the insurances and stuff, but you know, because playing behind Jamie Duncan and from Corey, you know, I was a real student of the game, and I wasn't caring about the accolades that people were saying all around me. It was about me watching the film and saying, hey, what was I grading out myself? Like, I'm not worried about what y'all, you know, saying all Americans and all of that. I'm worried about when Jamie Duncan, the guy that was already in the pros, when they see my film, what do they think of me? Because that's the way I was taught. Like, forget the scoreboard, all of that. It's play by play. If it's 60 snaps, how good did you do on those 60 snaps versus what was coming at you? So, you know, I was just a real student of the game, bro, and I just focused on that. And you know, all the agent stuff, I kind of blocked all that out, bro, because I felt like I wasn't ready. But my junior year, after I went out and played my junior year, I was like, I don't really see anything better that I could do in college because it wasn't like we were going to the national championship event. So obviously, and yeah, so I just entered the draft as a junior.
So one let me follow up with that because you went in the second round. They had you listed at 5'11". Do you think if you were 6'3", that puts you in the first round? What do you think personally?
But if I was 6'3", I think I could have been a top 15 pick.
There you go.
Easy, bro. I mean, like, I'm not a real big guy or nothing like that, but I mean, I understood how the draft process worked. You know, I was real familiar with Corey Chavis and Mel Kiper. I talked to them a lot. Those two used to, you know, trade information and stuff. So I understood why guys go so high and stuff. And I'm not from a winning program. or
Right.
anything. Actually, that year there was only one guy that actually went in the first round, and that was Dan Morgan
Oh, the
on the
linebacker, yeah.
championship team. Really good guy, huge, 6'3", as we 6'2", 6'3",
Mm-hmm.
4-4 running guy on a really winning team from Miami, like the Dream Squad. And so I knew probably when he went number 9, and I knew what all the other teams needed. Nobody needed a linebacker bad. I understood it. Nobody else was left that was worth jumping up into the first round necessarily. So I was happy just to even get called at all.
And so it's amazing because listening to your story here, you're obviously a high-level football player in high school, and you decide to go to Vanderbilt because you're thinking education and going and playing at a high level, which, let's face it, if you want to play high-level football and get a great education, there's no better place than Vanderbilt. How often do you go back to Vanderbilt? It's probably a special place near and dear to your heart, I'd imagine. So how often do you go back?
Yeah, I usually try to go back, catch at least a couple of games a year normally. Obviously for alumni stuff and all of that, I go back and stuff. Of course I had some health issues here and there after I retired and stuff. But, everything's changed now, man. Facilities are so much better. They got some better people in place, in my opinion. New age people keep up with social media. Allow the kids to do, what they do. Back then you would never hear any kind of rap music on with anything that had to do with Vanderbilt. You know what I mean? Like the social media now, the people that run the page, they're hip to the new stuff and all of that. But they treat me awesome when I go back, bro. Like, man, it's crazy. I look at it, and they treat me, like a god, really. Like, it's really cool, and but I'm like a humble dude. You know what I mean? All I tell people is, yo, I just gave it my all out there, dog. That's what I did. I wanted us to win and stuff like that, and I'm proud of the guys for going out and beating teams and stuff like that. It's y'all's time now, man. My time's up, though, dude. You know what I mean? You guys just do the best y'all can do. I'm proud of y'all for beating Alabama. Oh, I talked so much. I don't want to say SHIT, but Lord, did I call all my pro buddies from Alabama. Call me back, buddy. I got to tell you something.
That was a big time win. There's no doubt about that.
God.
That was a huge win for Vanderbilt, and they've really got something going here right now. I think the program seems like it's in a really good place, and that's definitely cool that you get to go back. And you ever talk to the guys that are current players? Ever go back and work out with any of these guys or anything?
No, I don't and stuff, man. I work out with them and stuff, because I got like 4 kids, man. 3 kids and a stepson who's like 12, and my daughter's into track and stuff, and so I'm always trying to be there for them. They come first for me in my life. But when I do go back and stuff, some of the guys, I didn't realize, sometimes you forget how much older some of these guys are young enough to be my kids. You know what I mean? So like when they see me, guys are just like wow and stuff like that, and I try to talk to them and just give them some motivation. But my main thing is, look, I'm out of the way, bro. If you want to know something, I'll help you. I'll tell you what I know and stuff. But it's you guys' turn now. What worked for me back then, it's totally different. It may not work for you guys now. You know what I mean? But I can, football is football. Low man wins and stuff like that. But I haven't gone back and worked out with guys and stuff because of due to health issues. You know, I follow a lot of guys on Instagram, and if they have some questions or want to ask something, obviously, the door is open for that. I always make that clear. A lot of guys don't know me when they see me by my face, but we wear name tags and stuff, and I can tell when they read my name tags, like, dang, that's the dude that's all through here and pictures and everything. You know what I mean? That type of situation. But I kind of just step out of the way and let the guys do their own thing.
So when we get to now, you're in the NFL, you get drafted by the 49ers.
Yes, sir.
Mariucci, they're kind of rocking, Jeff Garcia, obviously T.O. I think Julian Peterson probably came a year after you, or I don't think he was there.
No, he was a year before. That's my best buddy.
Okay, right.
That's
so now you got Julian Peterson, Bryant Young, veteran Bryant Young, and Andre Carter, just thinking all the guys. Dana Stubblefield. So we know that line was big and husky to do a lot of blocking. Do a lot of blocking up front for you and everybody, and Jeff Ulbrich and company.
Absolutely.
How was it when you got to the NFL? I always like to ask this question. when you got to the NFL, the speed of the game. Now, obviously, you played in the SEC, so you saw a lot of similar guys that were going to play on Sunday. You saw them at that level, but then still now, when you get that level of coaching and at that level, like the transition from college to the NFL, how was that transition for you?
Hardest thing, it was definitely a hell of a lot faster. You know, you got big guys, 300 pounds, man. They running and hell, you like, damn, how's he even near me right now? Hit it to the play or whatever. But, you know, the biggest thing for me was that, you know, I carried a huge load when I got there because they asked me to play. Remember, I was a middle linebacker in college.
Mm-hmm.
So now they want me to play weak side linebacker. Then I have packages where I'm at safety. I'm packages where I'm at corner, packages where I'm at, you know, all these different positions, and I have to know all the checks. So I was kind of bombarded with the amount of information that I had to know. I mean, I'm studying all the way up until till I'm getting ready to run out the tunnel. But the speed, of course, is so much faster and stuff. But you know, the biggest blessing I think for me with that part, because of course I made a hell of a lot of mistakes and stuff, but was Dana Stubblefield, Brian Young, those guys just used to tell me, Jamie, don't worry about mistakes and stuff. We're gonna hold guys off of you. You just run around and make plays and talk mess like you do. It'll come to you. So when Brian Young, Hall of Famer, and Dana Stubblefield tell you that, it makes you comfortable, you know. And
Right.
so that's all I did. So like my rookie year, I had the most production on the entire defense versus the snaps that I played and the plays that I made. But eventually, you know, like second year, as the year goes on, I get better and more efficient with, you know, not making as many mistakes and making the checks properly and stuff like that. But yeah, it was totally different though. You know what I mean? I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, but the best thing for me was, you know, I come from Vanderbilt, you know, where our offense, you know, they weren't really all that good. So I'm playing a hell of a lot of snaps in the game. But I get to the pros and it's like I feel like as far as condition wise, this is easy because I've been watching the offense for like 7 minutes in the game. You know what I mean? And that didn't happen. That didn't happen in Vanderbilt. You know what I mean? So that was like the biggest difference for me.
You had an offense that can move the ball, and you got a breather every once in a while.
Yeah, man. I'll give it to you like this. I won more games my rookie year than I won than my entire college career.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So you
Yeah.
mentioned your rookie year.
Uh-huh.
What was your official welcome to the NFL moment?
The first snap of preseason. So I'll give you this story. So we're playing LT Lim in San Diego, right? So I remember the first play they run this lead, but it's actually a screen, you know. So I'm on high, I run up in there, snap. It's not a lead. So I turn around, first mistake, run back out. But when I turn back around to the play, all I see is Julie, everybody flying by me. By the time I look over there and start running to the play, I mean, here's Julian running by me and saying, "Come on, man, look, next play." He pat me on the head, next play, and I was just like, "Holy shit, that shit was fast." They done made a play and they're already running back, and I'm like, "Oh Lord, I don't know about this one." I mean, wow. I mean, it was so fast, you know, and I was just like, "Man, this is different." But you know, of course, as plays keep going and stuff, you know, I get the hang of it and stuff, you know. But man, that first play that happened, I was lost. Like, should I really be out here? You know?
Wow.
It was cool though. It
I
was
wanna
cool.
so your second regular season game, and I'm interested because you said they had you playing all over the field, safety, sometimes corner, weak side. When you got to week 2, you played the greatest show on turf.
Oh,
Can you
see,
recall anything about that game?
I didn't know that a team could move that fast on a damn field. I mean, like you literally have to take like a yard step back and a half because when these guys come off the ball, bro, when I say that they are rolling, my, I mean it. All these guys are efficient. I mean, even just watching film about when we were getting ready to play them, I was like, dang, they are rolling out there. But that doesn't do any justice to when you're out there. And you know, of course, you know they got all the great guys. You know, it was just, man, it was just like, this is fast. But that's a blessing though, because to play a team that fast, and then so like the next games, I feel like this is like cakewalk slow speed. You know, they don't have that same passing, that attack, and you know all of these, you know, the guys are not moving like this. You know what I mean? So Yeah, but that St. Louis, them guys there, bro, ooh, they got all my respect. They are bad, and they was, oh my god. I mean, I always tell my people, I was like, man, I remember, later on, a year or two later or something like that, having a knee problem, and then, we got all these packages, and every time they break the formation, I gotta go cover Marshall Faulk, and I'm just like, shit, because my knee's messed up, and you know what I mean. But you have to block that shit out. You know what I mean? And get ready to go out there, because the media, they don't know that you got a hurt knee and all this stuff. They don't care about that. You go out there and get burnt, they're gonna talk about you. And but I did well and
Yeah.
stuff, but the mental capacity you gotta have. You gotta be able to trick yourself into doing some things that you probably didn't think you could do.
So you mentioned that team, of course, so many all-pro level guys, future Hall of Fame level guys. Who were some guys? I mean, you played in an unbelievable era with so many great players that you must have played. Obviously, you played for multiple teams, so you played in a lot of different divisions, faced a lot of guys over the years. Who were some guys that you faced that as soon as you turned on the tape for that week, you just knew, man, this guy's going to be a problem?
As far as running backs, every single one of them. But no, honestly, you know what I mean? Every single one of them, like, man, you see stuff, you watching film, and you're just like, damn, this is, man, dude's good. No one, I mean, of course, that's what it's the NFL. That's why he's the starter. But the guys that really just stood out to me, running back wise, Marshall Faulk, of course, Mike Allstott, Michael Pittman was a beast. Adrian Peterson, you know what I mean? Reggie Bush, his speed out there and the way he could shift and stuff like that. You could really see on film Travis Henry was going to be a problem. He was a real tough. I played him in college, but I knew him. A guy that surprised me was, I can't think if it's Marquise Ship. He used to play for the Cardinals, but man, that dude was tough. Maurice Jones-Drew. Oh my God. He's the one that made me start wearing my damn neck roll. I never forget it. I come running all the way on a sweep. I come running weak side backer at that time. I'm flying across the field, and he goes toward the sideline, but he kind of crouches down when I get ready to hit him. And when I say, I was like, that is one tough, strong little dude. Oh my God. And it hurt my neck some too, you know what I mean? And I started running a damn neck roll after that. But yeah, he's a tough one. Fred Taylor, that guy can do everything you could think of on the field. Steven Jackson was like that, man. He's,
Tough.
Ward Dunn, Turner from Atlanta was special. When it comes to receivers and stuff, because what they don't do now, back then, Julian and I, we were fast enough and could run enough, cover four, we could call lock, and now we got the receiver man to man in the slot. I've had Jerry Rice like that, guys like Moss and people like that, man. Those guys are just totally out of this world special, man. Can't even explain how good them guys was. But yeah, I mean, every week, bro, you better strap it up, man. That's the truth about the league. It's not an easy league, that's for sure.
So before we move, because I want to talk more about your respective career and your going from San Francisco, obviously there with T.O. and whatever stuff was going on there, and then you go to Denver or you get traded to Denver. One more player I want to ask you about, because you got to see Michael Vick in 2004, and this is Michael Vick. This is right. This is Michael Vick. This is when they went 11-5. Michael Vick is in prime Michael Vick mode for Atlanta, and this new thing we've seen Randall Cunningham, but we've never seen this before. But you ended up getting him in 2004. What was it like playing him?
Julian and I were really excited to play him because, both of us are pretty much like 4.4 speed guys at the time, and tip-top shape we was in that time. Man, I never played a player as a quarterback that our coaches were like, we really don't want to make him flush out of the pocket at all. You know what I mean? Like, we had Cedric Wilson trying to imitate him at quarterback, which was, if I'd say on a level of Michael Vick's a 10, Cedric could give us like a 4. You know what I mean? It's just no way to imitate what this dude can do until you get out there and see it. And it's like everybody was coming to the sideline like, holy shit. That bitch is fast, and he can do angles out there and all of that. But I mean, we gave him hell out there. I mean, we got to sacking him and stuff like that, putting pressure on him. But his just natural ability out there, dog, was just like nothing. It's like the Vic experience. You know what I mean? You remember the commercial. This dude was just on another level. And, he's not that big, and he has this rocket arm. You know what I mean? And he's lefty, so it looks weird. He's just I'd never seen anything on the football field like that. That's the only way I could explain it. I had never seen anything like that on a football field.
So the funny thing is, you're saying you've never seen nothing like that, but I don't know if you remember, but you did have 2 sacks, a pass defense, and a forced fumble. So you guys were on point to,
Yeah,
to
we
handle
gave them hell.
whatever thrown at them.
Yeah, we put pressure and stuff on him, but it's kind of one of those. You ever been in a fight and like, yeah, okay, I won the fight, but man, dude hit hard and he's
Right.
awesome. It was
I
one of
got
them
beat
type
up.
of situations. Yeah, like, hey, no, don't pat me too many times about it, because hey, I feel this. He was one of them guys like ultimate respect. But I already knew Vic from the Play Ball American. We were Play Ball American together. Him and Drew Brees were the quarterbacks and stuff, and I already knew how special he was. I mean, hell, the whole world saw it. But just getting out there playing against him, even though we got after him a couple times, I mean, it was just clear like there's nothing like this guy. There's nothing like this dude. I really would like to, if I could do anything, really, honestly, I really would like to play Lamar Jackson just to see what the difference is versus, from Vic, because he's getting these yards and stuff like that. But, there's nobody kind of old enough that has played him, play Lamar that, probably could tell, the difference between him and Vic, age wise, right? But that Vic, man, he was electric, bro. My God, that dude, man. Yeah, that and you knew that because when people, how they describe people in the report, we get the report like a Wednesday on the guys and stuff like that. I mean, then we watch the film, and the whole day watching the film in there, we're just like, wow. I mean, you can't help it. I mean, we're gonna go at him hard as we can, but this dude is that special. Was that special?
So I got to know, who was the biggest trash talker you ever went up against?
You know what? It might be Phillip Rivers, man. Phillip talk all damn game, dog. He really do. He tell you ain't gonna do nothing. Yeah, I know you thought you had him and this and that, and you too slow. Yeah, you ain't you. If you was faster, you'd had a sack. He's that guy, but he makes it fun for you. Really good dude, man. But no, he talks for a quarterback. He's always talking. Like honestly, I mean, he makes the game fun. A lot of guys out there, of course they talk a little bit here and there, but I think what is his name, Runyon? I think he's over all the stuff. He smashed me one good time, and he talk all damn game. My God, and he's dirt. Philly's had dirty linemen since the beginning of time, I believe. All of them are dirty. I mean, they play a hard game, bro. You get caught around a pile, they will knock your block off. Like seriously, really good, hard playing. Philly's just always been a tough, rugged type team, dog. And but they talk a lot of noise too. I didn't have a whole bunch of other people that just really talk a whole bunch. Marshall talk a little bit, but just in a different type of way or whatever. But but I think Phillip was, he talked the most, in my opinion.
Yeah, nah, that makes sense. I actually thought you might have said it was a guy on your own team named T.O. because every time I see him, one of my favorite players of all time,
T.O.
every
don't
time
talk
I
no.
see him, he's running his mouth.
Oh no, yeah,
Come
T.O.
on.
always talking, but on our team, I'm the most. I talk the most, because I'll tell you
Okay.
anything. I'll tell you about your mama, your daddy, your girl, any of that, because I'm trying to get you out your game. I'm a small guy, you know. I mean, I was small and stuff, but I talk all game. You know what I mean? Like all game, like all game. Like they would always tell me, dude, you can't be saying all that on the field, and it's like when I'm out there, that was my incredible hope time. I don't like you. I don't like your mom. She should have never had you. You should never have came out here, dog. Like it's just a mistake, and we're gonna punish you about it. And I want to hit you and hurt you. I don't want to hurt you like literally, but I want you to know that you should have never came out here, dog. You should have stayed on the bus. That type of mentality. Hell yeah. That's the way I learned to play football. I don't know it any other way.
So you mentioned briefly earlier, you were talking about the position, and it kind of got me thinking, how have you seen the linebacker position really change, versus your playing days to kind of how you see the position being played now?
Well, number one, they don't run the football. So guys have to be extremely good in coverage now, which we were too. Julian and I were like before our time, if you ask me, back then they were smaller backers and stuff. Now they like all these 6'3", uh, uh, they like these what do you call it? Not 4-3 linebackers, 3-4 linebackers, outside backers. Yeah, Yeah, they're like these big hybrid guys that are slash DN. They're really DN standing up. You know what I mean? Like they're not reading guards and stuff. You know what I mean? But as the game's change, it evolves. But I like what I'm seeing out of the guys out there. Obviously they can't do some of the hits that we could do. You couldn't elbow somebody coming across the middle. Serious flag these days. I like the position how they're doing it now. They letting them blitz a lot more, and they're taking care of guys a little bit more. Because I will tell you, all that hidden, and stuff out there, it is all cool. Well, it used to be cool back then, but I'm only 15 years out of the league, and I'll tell you, there's games that I don't even remember until I see them again. Like, so I do understand why they have gone to try to protect the players a lot more. You know what I mean? You're young, making a hell of a lot of money. You don't really think nothing's gonna happen to you, but when you finish playing that game, as within a couple of years, you start having those days where you get out of the bed and it's like, wow, I gotta warm my ankle up just to step off the bed, type things. So I'm happy about how they're trying to protect the guys and stuff. But I think the linebacker play is really good. How they're doing it now, man. Guys, they're having fun out there, and they hit as much as they allow them to. So, I mean, I still enjoy watching the games. I'm happy with it.
So, let's stay there for a moment because you mentioned you have 3 and a stepson. I'm not sure how many boys you have. Are they interested in football? And if they are you encouraging them to play?
I have 3 girls, and I only have 1 stepson. I did have him in football, but his reading grade went low, because we're out there taking that practice stuff. So I made him come out of football, you know. Yeah. So as far as like the hidden stuff and all that, I don't force anybody into it. If you want to play it, I support you and all of that. But if I see something in you that I say, hey, this might not be for you, or you have an injury that trust me, I took all of those risks and I did all of that. So you don't have to do that. You understand what I'm saying? Like I got you covered financial wise. So I'm not gonna tell you to go. Now, if that's what you want to do, I'll support you. But you definitely don't have to try and make me proud about nothing with no football. Because I tell all the kids, none of my neighbors were football players. And so use your damn brain to make the money instead of your body, because everybody's not built everybody's not going to have a neck surgery with 4 screws in it and still go out there as an undersized linebacker and make tackles, knowing that you could be paralyzed at any time. Since I've finished football, I've had a neck surgery where I had to get 2 more discs on top of the plate that I have in my neck. So I don't want you going through that, dog. That's not for you. You know what I mean? But if you want to go out there, you got to play it a certain way. That's all I ask. But if you don't do your grades right, I'm not going to have you out there because I'm education first and foremost. Yeah, so that's the thing about me with that, But if he wants to play, cool. But you can only play if you earn it by making sure your grades are good.
So you talked about watching the linebackers nowadays. Who are some current players that you really enjoy watching? Who are some guys you like watching on Sunday?
Fred Warner, man. I just want to put him in my back pocket and make him play football all day. That dude, I seen that guy, man, when I seen that guy dive in the air like that, man, I just was like, that's what I'm talking about, dog. Like all out. He just made me so proud when I be watching football, man. I like that kid from Denver, Boneta, or whatever his name is, man.
Nick Benito, yeah.
That's a baller, dog. That dude can do everything. I really like him. I like my man from the Ravens,
Roquan.
Roquan. Yeah, Roquan's nasty. Yeah, he talk a lot of stuff out there. I like that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys that are playing really good ball out there, man. Honestly, man. But those are my guys. I'm a 49er person, so Fred Warner's top of the line. That's my guy. I watch more of their games than any games. And I watch the defense closely because I just love the way he plays, and he talk a lot of noise, and he's huge too. I didn't even know he was that big till I went to a game, was on the sideline. I was like, shit, that dude looks about 6'4". I don't know what they got him listed at, because he got the dreads and stuff, but his energy, I just love everything about him, bro. I just really do, man. Really big fan. Hell, I got his jersey and everything, and I wear it when I go up there. Yeah, so that's my guy. There's nothing better than him.
Yeah, he's definitely, people will argue him and Roquan, but, I think you're good
Man,
with
I
either
love
with either.
Roquan. I love Roquan, bro, but he ain't messing with Fred Warner for real.
Okay, I'm not gonna fight you on that one.
I tend to agree with you. Yeah.
He's not. Nah, he ain't.
Not gonna fight you on that.
Roquan will get down and stuff like. But Fred Warner is a man out there, and he don't play, and he is at the ball, and he is flying every play, and he run the show. So Roquan run the show and stuff too. I mean, maybe I'm biased because I'm a Niner, but this dude's huge.
No. They're both up there.
If I'm drafting a guy, I'm drafting him first. That's what I'm telling you.
Right,
Like
because he is six, like you said, 6'3",
man, that
6'4".
dude's a monster, bro. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think what I admire so much about him is how complete of a player he is too.
There you go.
I mean, can defend the run, can defend the pass.
Tight
He's
ends,
good versus
running
the
backs.
screen game. Yeah, such a complete player. I'm a big fan as well. He's a lot of fun to watch.
Right, so since you say you're a big 49er fan, let's stay there. So we know last year, it's not that they weren't necessarily good. They just got hit with a rash of injuries, right? When you start with McCaffrey, Trent Williams coming into camp late, so he had to get caught up. So you have all these. Brandon Ayuk gets hurt in game 2 or game 3.
Yep.
Kittle's nicked up, Debo's nicked up, so the offense looks a little shaky because he, the quarterback has to carry a lot more, and then there's the defense. They're kind of thin. They're thin, but they're top heavy, but they're thin. You lose Higdon, so it's a rash of injuries that happen. Because I've already told Brad, like I already have San Francisco as my worst to first pick, given their schedule. Given even if McCaffrey's not at 100%, we know one thing we know about Kyle Shanahan, or rather the Shanahans. They'll find out a way to run the ball with whoever they have back then. I'm a big fan of Garindo for fantasy players out there. But what do you see for the 49ers this year coming back, mainly as healthy as they can be?
Super Bowl. We're gonna have a hell of an era. Listen, everybody's focusing on McCaffrey and that running. We're gonna have one hell of an air attack. Just remember I said it on y'all's podcast first. We're about to sling the potato. We are gonna throw the hell out of that ball. We got guys gonna race down there and catch that ball, and that's what we're gonna do. See, everybody thinks we're gonna run it all day. No, we are finna sling the potato. I guarantee.
Listen, you got a guy from I'm a Florida Gator fan. You got a Ricky Pearsall guy out there, so I believe it.
Yeah, we got Ricky. I'm telling you, man, Ayuk's finna come, and they are tripping on Ayuk, bro. Ayuk is a beast. I mean, we got Kittle, bro. We still have the major people in play. Losing Ayuk, people don't realize how good this dude really was. Like,
right, I agree.
We are fixing to use all these weapons in the air. We going Delta, dog. We going Delta straight to California, San Fran, bro. I promise you. We finna let Purdy loose,
Oh, that's right. It is in San Fran.
We're going to let Purdy loose.
Okay. All right. I mean, listen.
I love it.
Just remember I said that now. I mean,
everyone's going to hear it now. I love it.
Listen, I talked to a couple guys and stuff. We're about to throw that ball.
Okay. All right.
I love it. Hey, there's some inside information here, guys. So get your 49ers fantasy guys lined up. Get them ready for your draft night. You heard it here first. San Francisco is going to have an aerial attack. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. You mentioned you don't get you go back to Vanderbilt. Obviously, you got kids and stuff. You don't have a whole lot of time to work with young guys. But if someone came up to you, let's say a young linebacker, maybe a guy, a high-level recruit or a young guy that's getting ready to go pro, what's the biggest lesson that you'd want to pass on to a guy like that? If you said, hey, Jamie, what's something you could really tell me that would help this young guy?
Listen. Block out the noise. You didn't play as good as you think, and you didn't play as bad as you think. Watch your film, study the film, and be the hardest on yourself. You know what I mean? So, I've had a 17 tackle game, 18 tackle game, but when I looked at the game, it really should have been like a 22 tackle game, and I didn't take that block on as good as I could have. Work on the craft, right? Because as long as you're paying attention to that and really trying to perfect that, all that other stuff is going to come, bro. And don't listen to somebody telling you how good you are, all that stuff, man. Pay attention to the craft. There is a craft about a position in football and becoming as good as you can get. And I would tell them, always remember that and work on that. You know what I mean? Take advantage of every time that you get out on the practice field. You're going to be out there whether you want to or not. Don't go out there bullshitting around. This is game. This is the game right here. Give it your all, 100%. If they don't want to play hard over there, you knock their fucking blocks off. Because I got to get ready. And I don't know about y'all, but I plan on dominating, right? So I take advantage of every opportunity that I get when I at practice so that it's easy when the game comes, right? Study film. And if you know, like I said before at the beginning of this, if you know what's coming and what they want to do, now you have a better chance of defending it. So film study and working on your craft is like the biggest things I think you can do. As far as like, and also, be a good person, bro. Like, you can't go be a jackass to somebody downtown at the freaking bar and think nobody's gonna know about it. It's gonna follow you, right? So there's a political game with football as well. You want to be known as a good character person and stuff like that. So, watch how you move and watch how you act because everything is being watched and word travels fast. That would be my big thing to them.
Yeah, I think there's especially now when you get into this NIL thing, you probably wish you had the NIL when you were playing. But now that we're in this,
they owe me.
They owe you. But now we're in this uncharted waters right now. As you see, the NCAA is finally trying to catch up because now they put the whatever type of parameters as of right now. We'll see how that works. With each team getting a certain amount of money. With the NIL entering into the college piece versus when you were playing, how much do you think that changes the dynamic? Because obviously when you played, it was like, listen, the ultimate goal is to get to the league because you're trying to get to the league because hopefully you love football, but also this is probably can create generational wealth for you and your children. Whereas now, some of these kids are getting, at least at the top end, they're getting $4 million deals and having all, on campus with Maybachs and Lamborghinis or whatever it is. How do you think that, I'm not sure if it affects those players that perhaps end up at perhaps the LSUs or the Alabamas, but if you're going to a Vanderbilt, it's like, okay, I know I'm here for football. I don't know the likelihood, but hey, they're giving me a $4 million NIL deal. How do I stay focused when in my head, that's generational wealth?
Well, that's something that they just didn't think about when they did this. But as me being an athlete, okay, I always wanted us to be able to get paid and stuff. But for a guy like me, that ain't a problem because I just want to beat somebody anyway, right? Like that's just my DNA, right? But there are gonna be guys within that they're gonna lay down after they're not gonna play as well because they already got it, or you know what I mean. That's just gonna happen. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is in life. But I like it. But I mean, it's just clear. I mean, if you give a guy $4 million in college, I mean, he's got more money than half the league in a sense because everybody's not making that kind of money or whatever, right? But my hope is that guys just realize that okay, if you're getting four right now, bro, there's a whole ton more for you. If you keep working at your craft and stuff like that, man, you gotta love the game first, bro. The money is one thing, but man, you gotta love this game because if you do, the money will come to you. If you get the opportunity and you're able to go out there and perform, right? But I mean, that's tough, dog. Like I ain't gonna lie. If I had $4 million in college, dog, I don't know. That's a lot. You know what I mean? That's a lot. That's tough. I just hope they have guys helping these kids with making decisions and plenty of mentors that's talking to them. But I mean, it's no secret, dog. You know what I mean? A coach is making a couple 100,000 for the year, and here this kid's making 4 million for the year. There might be a discrepancy with this and this kid and the coach. You know what I mean? But that's where character comes into play, right? Guys that still want it, respect their elders. This is my coach. Yeah, I'm making this kind of money, but he's here to make me better, the best that I can be. So I can't just because I'm making 4 million, I can't look at what he's telling me I'm doing wrong as in, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I make this money. You have to be. That's where character comes in, bro. And now what I believe that is that colleges have to do a better job at when they're recruiting guys. Don't bring those guys to your team if you don't think that character can handle that kind of success. You got to pick these guys that are the right caliber guys. And obviously we see character means so much, you know what I mean? And that starts with the college coaches picking the right guy.
Yeah, I seen Jamie like he's at a couple of events. I'm not sure if you have a foundation or anything you want to plug or push or anything that you're doing right now.
Really, man, because honestly, all I do is, you know what I mean? I go around different states and stuff. If, people hit me on Instagram and, they're having something, they want somebody to come and speak and talk to the kids and stuff. I'm more than willing to do that. My whole goal is I just want to use my experiences in life in general and all the stuff I've overcome to motivate people that, give it your all while you have a chance. That's the biggest thing. And, be the best person that you can be, bro. It's not that hard. You know what I mean? To be a bad person takes a lot of work. Going against the grain. To be a good person means taking the best advice and giving it to all. I mean, we all have an innate ability in us what's right and what's wrong. You know what I mean? So, just try to be the best you can be, stay out of trouble, and do the best you can do. I've had my time. I've got all the accolades I'm probably gonna get for the while. The kids call me Unc at the store now. Stuff like that. So, yeah, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm like, yo, what? I'm cooler than you. But
So I'll ask this one last question.
okay.
Vanderbilt calls and they said, "Hey Jamie, we want you to come in and be our football," because all the colleges now have a football GM. And they call you and they say, "Hey Jamie, we want you to come be a GM. Are you interested?" First, and would you go?
Only if you make me tenured.
Okay.
Because otherwise, I'm not trying to be somewhere 5 years and you fire me because I make more than that right now. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just a mathematical thing in those terms. I mean, of course, I would love to have some influence and stuff and be around the game, but I can't deal with that. Work 5 years and y'all find the coach and now the coach fires everybody and now I got to relocate. I already make that kind of money already, so I can't do that. I just come and give you my insight and let that be.
Right, you'd be a consultant. Got it.
Yeah, that's all. I don't even want to get paid. I don't need to get paid. Just I'll just give you what I can, my expertise, and leave it like that.
Well, I'm just gonna say it's been an absolute honor to have you on the show once again, guys. We've been joined by Jamie Winborn, retired 10-year NFL linebacker, former second-round pick for the Niners, and of course out of Vanderbilt. Jamie, really appreciate your time, man. This has been an absolute blast. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thank you. I got one more thing to say to y'all before y'all leave. 49ers for the Super Bowl, baby. Bang, bang, Niner game.
Man, I love it.
Thanks for listening to the Pint Glass Football Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Twitter at PGF Podcast.